okay, well, maybe I ate something bad, or maybe I'm just tripping. But I wasn't tripping. Like, that's literally discernment. Hello everyone, my name is Corey. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm gonna be giving y'all a part 2 of my season of isolation because a lot has happened since the last video that I've done. So y'all, all I can tell y'all right now is that the Lord is really testing me. Like, the devil is trying to tempt me, and the Lord is testing my faith, testing my loyalty to him, and trying to build me into a stronger woman and all this different stuff. And yeah, y'all, it's just all I can say is it hasn't been easy. It has been a battle, but I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm becoming a better person each and every day. My faith is getting stronger. I'm just kind of evolving into the new version of myself. So with this season of isolation that I've been experiencing, one thing I learned that God is telling me is sometimes that I should probably keep my mouth closed. And when I say that, I'm not talking about gossip or anything. In this sense, I'm speaking on telling people too much of yourself, at least telling people too much of yourself too soon, or period. Some people just don't, they may or may not deserve to know you in those kinds of ways. And I feel like for me, sometimes maybe it's that I trust too fast, or that I get comfortable with, then I start to kind of just yap on about things that I don't normally tell a lot of people. And ultimately, this has ended up getting me hurt because I put my trust in certain people, and that has just been, they ended up like hurting me ultimately. And it's not that they use that information against me, but it's the fact that they put their actions above like caring about me. And so I just ended up, in a sense, being backstabbed. And it's like, well, I sat here being open and being vulnerable with you just for you to kind of turn around and either backstab me, or there are certain people that just don't necessarily understand where I'm coming from or why I feel like XYZ is a concern. But it's a concern for me because I'm Christian, or because I feel discernment and I feel like maybe I shouldn't be doing this, or maybe I should be thinking like that, whatever the case may be. And the other issue with that is some people don't understand. They may or may not understand. Everybody's on different levels religiously. Everybody is not Christian. And some people might sit here and say that they're Christian, but they're not. I'm not a perfect Christian. I sin every day, and I have no problem saying that. But at the end of the day, I do feel like I'm a Christian, and I strive to be more and more like Christ each and every day. But like I said, I do sin. But ultimately, I've learned also that there are some people that say that they're Christian, and that may not be 100% true. Yes, there are lukewarms, but I've heard songs also speak on, like, pick a side. You're either going to be all in for God, hot for God, on fire, whatever they say, or you're going to be cold. You need to pick one, because lukewarm is in the middle. So you kind of live in double lives. And like, I've kind of ran that past my best friend, but it's like I was kind of oblivious to it, or I didn't think it was that important to where I felt that I couldn't talk to that person or whomever it was. But truly, it's best to talk to people that are more towards the Christianity side than being cold or whatever the case may be. So a lesson that I've learned is that sometimes it's just best to be quiet on certain things and don't be so vulnerable. Everybody's so quick. Yeah, you really supposed to really just go to God sometimes, whether you need advice, whether you need to vent, because everyone intent may not be to hurt you, but sometimes it does. And ultimately, God's not gonna hurt you. He's there to listen. He's there to comfort you. He's there for you, period. So go to him. And I feel like for me, that's another thing I learned, is that I've been going to everyone else about my problems, but nobody's going to sit here and fix it but God. And that's another thing I had to realize. It's like, well, I'm telling XYZ this and that, or how I feel about this and that. They're not going to fix it. Yes, it may feel good to get it off your chest, but ultimately okay, I told you this information, so what now? Not saying you can't sit here and talk to people about that, like, different things you're going through either, because I talk to my best friend all the time about a lot of stuff, and it's like that's good. It does make me feel better. But at the end of the day, you also need to go to God. So be selective about who you choose to tell information to, but also always run to God. If you're going to run to anybody, run to the Lord. Okay. Another thing that I've been learning in my season of isolation that has really become a true test is that everyone's problem is not my problem. That's another thing I had to learn, because I feel like sometimes I can be too nice, or sometimes I'll go out of my way to make sure this or that person has what they need, or whatever the case may be. But sometimes, because ultimately that ended up, for me, getting me hurt, because I was trying to be too nice or trying to fix this and that situation, trying to be there for that person. When I'm not saying don't be there for people, but know your extent, like to the extent of what? Because there may be times where you may be overdoing it, or like you may be in the middle of a problem it's out of your hands, and at that point you just have to lead that person to God. And I feel like that's very important, and that's something that I've really been learning as well. Another thing is, I used to get these little feelings, like certain situations, certain people, it will make my stomach hurt. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I ate something bad, or maybe I'm just tripping. But I wasn't tripping. Like, that's literally discernment. Like, that person, I'm not saying they may be a bad person, but it may be a situation y'all have going on, or something like that, or you can't get that off your head, or you're dreaming about it. That's signs of discernment that literally, I feel it more now than ever. And I'm still in the process of trying to figure out why I feel this way, or why when I think about that person, my stomach starts to hurt. That's discernment, and I'm still talking to God and trying to figure that part out. But yeah, this season of isolation has really taught me a lot, and I feel like it's hard because me personally, I've lost a lot of people that I cared deeply about, or bonds have just been kind of closed off because we just not necessarily fell off, but we may have got into it really bad, or whatever the case may be. And this kind of goes with family and friends, and even with well, just even in general. Let's say we may not have got into it, but me learning that, okay, sometimes I can't tell this or that person everything is another thing that I am beginning to learn. Like, yeah, we can still be cool, we can still talk about certain things, but certain things they may or may not understand, and I just need to not run to everybody, or I need to run to God first before I go to anybody. And that's just how it's supposed to be. And I just feel like this season of discernment, this season of isolation has just taught me so much, and it's kind of a blessing. Well, not kind of. I would kind of see it as a blessing, because I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't hurt, because it definitely does hurt to lose people. It hurts to know that you trust somebody and they messed you up, or know that you can't always go to a person about certain things. Yes, that hurts completely. I'm human. Like, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna feel some type of way. Like, there's been nights where I've cried. There's been just times where I've kind of been angry at myself for letting that happen, and just all kinds of different emotions. But at the end of the day, like I said, you're human. And also beyond that, yes, you're gonna cry. You're going to be angry. You're going to have all kinds of emotions, but you got to remember to go to God about it, because he's the only person that's going to fix everything. And this season of isolation, as it gets tougher, I also look at it as a blessing, because number one, it's equipping me into an even better woman than before, because I'm learning new things about myself. I'm learning how to manage new problems. I'm learning how to have higher standards for myself, stick firm to my morals, stick firm to my faith, different things like that. So it's just equipping me to be a stronger woman. So I've heard that the deeper you get into your faith, the harder sometimes the test becomes, or the more the tests come, because the devil's like, okay, I see that person is doing well. I want to mess that up. And another thing I want to learn, I just want to add, like I said, a lot of people are going to sit here and say they're Christian. Like I said, I'm not perfect, I sin. But my best friend was telling me the other day, even the devil read the Bible. The devil knew the Bible, but he's still the devil. So just because somebody says, oh, I go to church on Sunday, or oh, because they can read you this and that Bible verse, that doesn't mean anything. That means nothing. It's about your heart. It's about whether if you sin, you repent, or do you just keep it going, like, oh, whatever. It's about a whole bunch of things, but you can't just If somebody tells you, oh, I read the Bible, or oh, I go to church, or oh, my grandparents and my family get together and we go, no, it's about more than that. So that's another thing I had to learn, because for me, like, the person I try to look for is somebody who knows their Bible, or they're firm in their faith. But sometimes it can be like a fake, a front, I'll say. Yeah, it can be a front, and like, you got to watch out for that too. Not saying they're a bad person, but they may just be in a lukewarm stage where you got to figure out what side you want to be on, and that's up to them and God. And you can help them to choose a side, but ultimately it's up to them if they want to choose that side, and that's a battle between them and God at the end of the day. But yeah, so all I want to say is that this season of isolation, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. It's making me a stronger, better woman than I was before. It's also growing me deeper in my faith, because another thing I realized is that, y'all, I never used to do this until like a few days or weeks ago, like a few weeks ago. I don't know, y'all. But I started doing this thing, like late at night, I would either, well, let me run that back. Sometimes I'll be on the phone, or sometimes I'll be out doing things for people just out of me being too nice, okay? I'm just keeping it real with y'all. But once that person was removed from my life, I don't know what happened to me, because I either used to watch TV or, I don't know, go for a late night drive. But lately I've just been still, like being still in the presence of God, just sitting there, not rushing to get out the house, not rushing to get out of my thoughts. No, I've been sitting there. I'm letting my emotions come to the surface. I'm understanding how I'm feeling. And I get in my Bible. Of all things, like, that's what I've been deciding to do lately, especially at night. Like, when I can't go to sleep or I'm bored, I've been getting in my Bible, y'all. And I'm still a work in progress. I have a long way to go. But for me, that is a big step, because normally, like I said, I try and run or find company, find somebody, you know, to entertain me or whatever the case may be, instead of just facing the problems or having that talk with God, instead of like pushing it to the side. It's coming to the surface, y'all. So overall, I just want to say that my season of isolation is tough, but there's blessings to it. There's a lot of things you learn. You see God is there for you. You realize who's there for you and who's not. You realize who you can and cannot go to. You just realize so much in the season of isolation. It really just is a blessing. It brings you closer to the ones that are there, I think, because it has made me show my friends more appreciation, start telling them thank you more often, you know, continue those good morning texts to those people that deserve it and deserve your presence, because everybody doesn't deserve your presence. And that's another thing that I have to learn. You can't put others' feelings before yourself. Well, let me say that to an extent. But yeah, y'all, that is the end of this video.